take a look at an interview that was done earlier on at Spice FM. They were talking to Japan ambassador to Kenya, that is Okaniwa Ken. The conversation was on fostering diplomatic relations between Japan and Kenya. Take a look.
Make sure there's money in the wallet.
That's it.
And whatever you put there, you will automatically get 50% of what you've put in. So if you put 1 shilling, you'll get 50 cents. If you put 100 shillings, you'll get 50 shillings.
That's it.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ndu, what is the easiest way to get free airtime today?
You need to go into a supermarket and buy a tin of kiwi. And that kiwi is the new logo kiwi. All right. What you need to do is pick that up, and then you get the code which is under the lid, and then you will dial *459 *5#. You get airtime data instantly.
Apo.
There's the answer to your question.
Also,
you enter into a draw, and every week 4 people are winning 35,000 shillings, all the way to take you towards school fees. Pays for school fees, school of your choice, person of your choice. You can do it for somebody else, you can do it for yourself. Now is the time when everybody is still reporting to school. Get a hold of it and see if you win.
very good. We, on 12th of December, we marked how many years as a republic? 60. 60 years.
Yep.
Why? And in those 60 years, since Kenya became independent, Kenya has had relations with the world for all those years.
Yes.
And very many countries. Established diplomatic relations with very many countries in those years, and some have stood strong, have been very, very beneficial. With one of those countries is Japan. Kenya-Japan relations have lasted all those many decades. The ambassador of Japan to Kenya, His Excellency Okaniwa Ken, is our next guest. Balozi, good morning.
Good morning, and nice to see you again, Eric.
Nice to see you too. Happy New Year.
Yes, same to you.
Yeah, Karibu Sana to Kenya's biggest conversation. Again, that's the hot seat of the Situation Room. Looking back at 60 years of relations between Kenya and Japan, and the diplomatic ties, and what we have been able to gain as a people of the two countries. To welcome you to the conversation, City, as you know, every week he goes into one African country, picks a proverbs from that country, and every day he gets us a proverb. This week he's gone to Nigeria. You know, the sheng of Nigeria is pidgin. Now, he cannot speak fluent pidgin, but he's learnt very well and very fast. He's going to read the proverb in pidgin, but she is going to give it to us in proper pidgin, and then she will also translate it into English. City.
Right.
Go.
Let me massacre this particular. No matter how lizard they go press up, no go get chest like alligator.
I have to say, I love the movements with the hands when you're reading it. It's great.
That's to encourage me to keep going.
You feel like a lizard when you do this.
Yes, you know, so that's how these creatures seem to walk.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, then there's a chameleon that sort of like, yes, back and forth.
Ndu?
No matter how lizard they do press up,
Yes.
in chest no go be like alligator.
Yes.
Okay. So if I say that in English, no matter how many press-ups a lizard does, its chest or its muscles will never be like that of an alligator.
I'm not sure what to take of that.
Try.
Try. Give it a try.
The lizard cannot never be an alligator.
Yes.
Yes.
You cannot try to be someone you are not.
That's it.
Yes.
The bottom line.
Hard as you may try, you cannot be someone else. You are who you are. Yes.
Well said, Ambassador. Now, Kenya and Japan have had relations for very many years, and there are very many things that we've looked at over the years in terms of what we've been able to achieve as a country, how we have related as a country. We've had conversations here, even now, about Kenyans going to study, live, and work in Japan. We have seen very many companies from Japan come and establish here in Kenya. We've seen Japanese people who've come and worked here in this country. We've seen projects that have been supported by Japan. In a nutshell, How would you define the relations between Kenya and Japan?
It's a very good question and difficult to answer. But we have had 60 years of diplomatic relations. And in those 60 years, I have seen that we have had so many different exchanges, not only at the government level, but also at the grassroots level, and people studying in Japan, getting training in Japan, and then Japanese coming to Kenya to work with Kenyans to promote development, such as the volunteers from JICA, and it has been a very, very intense and very friendly relations over the years.
Mm. And we've seen very many projects that have been initiated by Japan and the government of Japan in this country. Can you highlight a few?
Yes. Well, there are some major infrastructure projects that we have done through our development aid. But first of all, Kenya is the largest recipient of our bilateral official development assistance in whole of sub-Saharan Africa. And I think that says quite a lot about our relationship. And we have a lot of involvement in many parts of the country. So if you look at along the coast, we have supported the construction of the Moi International Airport in Mombasa. We have supported the Mombasa port development, and the recent project expanded the area of the port by 1/3. And that is bringing in revenues for the government, promoting more goods to be shipped in and out, and also helping the jobs and economy of the people. And then there's also the Muea irrigation scheme, where we built the most recently Tiba Dam, and this is going to expand the network of irrigation so that people will be able to plant rice and other agricultural produce where before they were not able to grow because of lack of water. We have supported Okaria geothermal power plant. About half of the capacity for geothermal electricity is supported by cooperation from Japan. And today, what is remarkable is that the Kenyan engineers, they are able to explore for geothermal resources underground so that they know where they should build a new geothermal power plant. And this is thanks to the training that they have received in Japan.
Why has Japan chosen to go so in-depth with Kenya in its development? Because like you said, Kenya being the largest recipient of aid from Japan, why has Japan decided to go? And in very many sectors, infrastructure, when we look at roads, we're looking at infrastructure when it comes to energy, energy infrastructure, provision of energy. Why across so many sectors?
First of all, I think that the Kenya is one of the few countries in the area which has maintained a democratic form of government, and it has been very stable, and it is the anchor of the East Africa region, and based on that, we built up so many links and cooperation over the years. I think this is one of the most biggest factors why Japan has been focusing on cooperation with Kenya. And also, as a result of our cooperation with Kenya, the level of education is highest in the region. And so there are sort of trained people who we can work together with so that the fruits of our cooperation also can be shared with other countries in the region and beyond. So, for example, the cooperation we had with KEMRI is allowing KEMRI to train medical experts from other countries in the region. And this has really helped in dealing with the corona pandemic. And this is helping with other infectious disease. So this is just one example, but I think our cooperation is not only about benefiting Kenya, but it's also benefiting the whole African region. For example, in fighting infectious disease. And this is a common good for the humanity.
This is 60 years of relationships. How long have you been in Kenya, Your Excellency?
So I have been here 2 years, and I am the 20th ambassador of Japan to Kenya. So during those last 6 years, I have only been here for only 2 of the last 60. So I cannot say a lot, but still I learned a lot about what happened in those 60 years, because when we are celebrating the 60 years of our diplomatic relations, we organized photo exhibitions. We also reached out to those Kenyans who were trained or educated in Japan. And so I have had a lot of conversation about what sort of experience they had and what sort of friendships they have with Japanese people.
The assistance and the partnership that Japan has had with Kenya in academia, in research, in higher education, that spans very, very many decades. But if I were to bring the discussion to the present and look at something that we've been grappling with for the longest time, universal health care, can you tell us what it is that the country of Japan has done to assist Kenya with its goal of trying to achieve universal health care?
No, thank you for the question. The universal health care is a very important aspect of any country's development. Japan is... we introduced universal health care in 1961, and we are trying to use our experience to work with Kenya to promote universal health care. And it is right that Kenya is attaching importance to achieving this, because for any country you need to have a healthy population to develop. And we have been supporting the doctors from Kenya with their particular areas of specialty. We have been working on promoting the system of sort of the universal health care. We have been also right now supporting accountability of how the funding is used in healthcare, and this is a very broad area and there are so many aspects of universal healthcare, and we also have supported Kenya by providing financing for universal healthcare. So this is a very various aspects of universal healthcare that we have been involved, and we are looking forward to universal healthcare being available for all the people in this country.
Would you say that the universal healthcare program you have in Japan is successful?
Yeah, well, we think that we are making progress, and I think what we have seen is that the level of the diagnosis or the level of the services have improved. We have seen that doctors are now able to diagnose the disease that the patients have and then provide them with appropriate medication and treatment. I think it cannot be achieved overnight. And there are many challenges, such as the access to the patients or patients having access to hospitals. We also support the construction of hospitals and clinics so that there is access for people who are in faraway areas as well.
Ambassador, when you look back over the 60 years and the relations between the two countries, and then look at the amount of aid that you've given the country and look at the cooperation that you've had, people often don't remember that, Japan has played a role until you see JICA, and then you hear someone saying, there were Japanese who were involved in this particular project. But over the years, the conversation has been that when it comes to aid in Africa, aid in the sub-Saharan Africa, aid into Kenya, aid has been coming from the West. And for many years, there has been the politics of when aid is coming from the West and Western countries, it comes with conditions that, you must then meet certain conditions. You must be democratic in this particular manner. You must have this kind of checks and balances and accountability for us to continue giving you the aid. But we don't hear those kind of conversations when it comes to Japan. What do you ask for in return to giving Kenya aid?
Our approach to supporting development countries such as Kenya is, I think, different from other countries. One is that we attach the utmost importance to the ownership of the recipient country. So this is why in our process, when we try to identify how can we cooperate with Kenya, we have intensive discussion of what are the needs and what does the Kenyan government want to achieve. And so we spend a lot of time in this discussion so that Kenyan government is in the driver's seat. And when we support them, we are trying to achieve the self-reliance of the government so that when we are finished with our project, the Kenyan government is able to continue with that activity on its own. And so this is a very different way of working maybe compared to some other donors. And so this is a very different aspect. Another thing is that we attach importance to promoting economic growth through our activities. And this is because unless you have economic growth, people are not able to promote their own livelihoods, but also for the government to have tax revenues and to be able to sustain all the activities that is being sustained by using the revenues from the tax. And so we are one of the few donors who attach actually a particular focus also on economic growth and how to promote it. And this is why in our cooperation on the various road and other infrastructure projects, we look very closely at how can we promote the private sector.
Is there satisfaction that there's been sustainable economic growth in Kenya with the cooperation from Japan? One would assume that because Japan keeps supporting, that then there is satisfaction. But truly, if you look at one of the pegs being sustainable economic growth in any country where Japan will then put its assistance, then the question is Japan satisfied with the economic growth at whatever level that is or is not happening in Kenya at the moment?
Well, I'm not sure whether the question should be framed in whether we are satisfied or not with the growth of the Kenyan economy. Because I think it's for the Kenyan people to say whether they are satisfied or not. We are merely trying to, I think, work together to support this the quest for economic growth. But in any case, I think the Kenyan economy has been, I think despite the recent difficulties in the international economic situation, which is coming from the higher cost of oil, fuel, or higher cost of food imported and other imported products, and also the strong dollar and the devaluation of the Kenyan shilling, I think the Kenyan government has been relatively robust. And this is thanks to the efforts being made by the the economic authorities of the government, and so we appreciate the way in which the Kenyan government is trying to deal with the situation. I think the current situation is not an easy situation, even for Japan. And we are facing more or less the same problems. But despite that, the Kenyan government has been doing relatively well, not to be defaulting on its loans, and also to be able to achieve about 5% economic growth. So this is quite an I think achievement despite the circumstances.
You mentioned taxpayers' money. Taxpayers' money, does that form the bulk, or rather what forms the base of this development aid that Japan would give to, benefactors around the world? What forms the base of that?
Yes, the official development assistance budget comes from the Japanese taxpayers, money. So this is at the basis. But but this is not a big amount compared to the sort of the size of the Kenyan economy, or compared to the sort of private business activities and private financing. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to use our official development assistance to leverage and to bring in more Japanese private financing, or more Japanese companies to invest or do business in the country.
Okay.
Every time we talk of bilateral facilities, loans, and multilateral, there's always an interest attached to it. I say this because one of the big problems we have right now in the country is on debt repayment. Just so that we understand, when a country like Japan, say, lends a country like Kenya money, what sort of percentages do you charge?
Yes, that's a very easy question. So we are right now supporting or doing cooperation on the Mombasa Gate Bridge.
Yes. And
this is actually quite a huge project involving many millions of dollars. The interest rate on the loans that we are providing for the Mombasa Gate Bridge, it is 0.1%. And the grace period is 12 years. And once the grace period is finished, it is a 40 years repayment period.
At 0.1%.
So this is